Haircuts are driving inflation. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your shine of coffee and let's have a look at this article which is discussing some recent news from our new Reserve Bank governor, in which she was, she was apparently misquoted or misrepresented that haircuts are driving inflation. This is the whole interest rates won't increase until 2024 again. This is the same thing. This is the media misrepresenting her. So let's have a look. Reserve Bank chief slammed for suggesting Aussies getting haircuts are to blame for inflation. Now, I can assure you, you cannot blame me for this. I don't need haircuts with this chrome dome I've got here. And I guess the worst I'd get would be go to a barber when I want the beard styled. So there you go. The Reserve Bank's new governor, Michelle Bullock, has been slammed for suggesting Australians getting haircuts are to blame for high inflation. I mean, okay. Aussies getting haircuts is affecting the costs of goods and services that are being transported around the country because of the significant petrol excise, or the cost of shipping, or the fact that the minimum wage has just been increased. Sure. With inflation still high at 5.4%, Ms. Bullock said, domestic demand for services was now the key driver of high prices. Inflation is being driven by domestic demand, increasingly underpinned by services, she told an Australian business economist dinner in Sydney on Wednesday. Hairdressers and dentists, dining out, sporting, and other recreational activities. The price of all these services are rising strongly. The remaining inflation challenge we're dealing with is increasingly homegrown and demand-driven. Tony Windsor, a former independent member of federal parliament, joked that bald men like himself were leading the fight against inflation. We're the heroes this nation needs. Sacrificing our hair to help support the economy in these times of rampant inflation. Everyone should shave their heads. Breaking bald people to lead the fight against inflation, he told his ex-followers on Thursday morning. One follower joked that without much hair on top, could avoid paying tax to their company car. Also a good way to avoid fringe benefit tax, he said. Oh, you mean the Labour jealousy tax. Barrister and Labour Party member Michelle Springer suggested the Reserve Bank was looking to blame someone for high inflation. Yes, Tony, nothing like blaming hairdressers for inflation, he said. Mr. Windsor, who previously held the seat of New England in northern New South Wales, joked the banks could reward bald customers for doing their bit to keep inflation down. They're just running with it, aren't they? I mean, this is Twitter. It is a bunch of crap, honestly. There's a lot of just stupid. It's an algorithm designed to feed you content that will get you to engage. And often that'll be some idiot, stupid worldviews that are just frustratingly ignorant and asinine to the point where you struggle to resist the urge to just tell them to shut up. You'll be entitled to a lower mortgage rate, he said. Well, if you're a doctor or a lawyer, you probably are. Ms. Bullock said high inflation was now a problem beyond surging petrol and electricity prices. Surging petrol and surging electricity will feed through to the rest of the economy. So if you bring these things down, electricity isn't going to get cheaper. We're heading towards renewables. They're more expensive. Look at South Australia's electricity prices. Look at all the infrastructure you don't need to build, but you need to build for renewables to have some hope of providing baseload consistency that has to be replaced every 20 years. Yeah, it's not going to get cheaper. Get used to these higher prices, everyone. They're not going down. Just the rate of increase might reduce a little bit. Instead of 5%, we might be sitting on a nice healthy 3 or 1. Inflation is much broader than just rising prices for petrol, electricity, and rents. Prices are rising strongly for the majority of goods and services we all consume. The Reserve Bank's first female leader admitted her inflation warning would be unpopular I know that my message tonight will not resonate with some, she said. I receive letters from people who are finding it difficult to make ends meet, and I speak with organizations that assist struggling households. But Miss Bullock, who earned $800,000 a year in a 800 grand a year, guys. I mean, there should be a cap on all of these organizations if the market provides, but still, as deputy governor, I would now be on 1.1 million remuneration package. I mean, couldn't we replace this with a bot? What they do? I guess we saw all the algorithmically stable coins, what happens when it goes wrong. She said she particularly cared about those on low incomes. Everyone is seeing prices for goods and services rise strongly, but this has a particular severe impact on low-income households, she said. This emphasizes the need to get inflation back down. Well, if you want to, it's a psychological thing as much as anything. Are you going to be, if you're in a business, are you going to artificially cut the fees you charge? No. You have to cover your costs. Okay? How many businesses now, because the minimum wage has gone up, all their staff are going to insist, well, I want more money. If someone with no skills is on this rate, I expect more. Do people not realize this is what happens? The Reserve Bank of Australia this month raised interest rates for the 13th time in 18 months, taking the cash rate to a 12-year high of 4.35%. Inflation is now expected to take longer to moderate, with the RBA forecasting a return to the top of the 2 to 3% target range in late 25 instead of mid-25, as predicted as recently as August. I mean, can we trust any of their predictions? I've got to have, is my wage one working here? No, it's not. Okay, I still need to reprogram some things with my slide deck, but imagine a slide appearing with repeated failures in RBA's ability to predict wage growth. Hey, they're getting the wage growth they want now. Spending on services, classified as recreation and culture, climbed by 5.6% in the year to September, ABS Consumer Price Index data showed. Spending data from the CBA's 10 million customer accounts backed up the RBA's observation, with both older baby boomers and younger millennials both forking out on more services. Or more on services, not on more services, sorry. They may be getting the same, but it's getting more expensive. Baby boomers, or those aged 65 and over, spent 17% more on travel and 11% more on eating out, as their overall spending rose by 6%. Millennials spent 13% more on entertainment, even as their overall spending dived by 5.1%, including a 3.7% drop in everyday essentials. The most severe interest rate rises since '89 are taking an economic toll. Credit check company Experian has also revealed 2/3 of lending managers surveyed had already seen an increased risk of consumer defaults and hardship in the last 6 months. Borrowers who took out a loan since 2019 are also 3 times more likely to default compared with someone who took out a mortgage in 2015. Well, because your mortgage is much bigger. The head of innovation, Jordan Harris, said, the survey of 75 finance risk leaders in Australia showed navigating through the current economic climate isn't easy. People's financial circumstances can change very quickly as income and expenditure become more volatile due to rising interest rates, inflation, and the impact of increased cost of living, he said. So there we go. Let's have a bit of a chat about this one, guys. So, we're to blame for all those pesky services that we're buying. What about everything that's driving up the cost of providing those services? All the taxes and charges and regulations that businesses are required to pay. Increases in the wages that you have to pay workers now. It's not going to be absorbed. These businesses need to make money. The smaller businesses need to make money. You need to be profitable. So everything's going to go up. It's just how it is, guys. Oh, well, we'll have to see. What do you reckon? Do you think it's fair or unfair how they're targeting the new governor? Or, well, Labor just want to deflect some of their brilliant abilities to address cost of living. I mean, you could always just reduce taxes. Oh, wait, Yeah, they're doing that with the stage 3 tax cut, even though most people will see some benefit to it. Everyone seems to be against it. What about people voluntarily paying more to the government in taxes? If you want to pay more taxes, no one's stopping you writing a check to the ATO, is it? Anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.